Assalamu alaikum class. Welcome to your revision session for this term. We'll be recapping over everything that we have done during the course of this term. Alright, so during the course of this term, we treated several topics. If not all, we treated some. Due to unforeseen circumstances, we couldn't finish it up. So we talk about organization of life, habitat, and transport system in plants, reproductive health, digestive system. We talk about circulatory system. We're supposed to talk about pollination and fertilization. But do not worry, we'll get there. Alright. So Bismillah, on the first topic, organization in life. Because of this topic, the subject is a broad one, so we just try and I'll touch key points. We just touch key points and let every other thing be. Alright, starting with organization of life, we talk about organization of life, which simply entails how the living organisms are built. Do you understand how their whole system works, right? How they are being built from the grassroots. So we said what? The organization system, the organization in living things starts with what? Actually the cell. As you can see here, it starts what? With the cell, right? It starts with the cell, which is the smallest unit of life. So like, as you have been taught in your grade 7, it is upon the cell everything is built. Now, when you have the cells, these cells come together, cells of similar function or similar interest come together to form what? A tissue. Remember, group of what? Similar cells of similar what? Functions come together to what? To form the tissue. Now, when you have several tissues, right? They also come together to form what? An organ. I believe you know what organ is, like our eyes, ears, nose, and the rest of it, right? Different similar tissues come together to form what? An organ. Then we have what? Similar organs or different organs come together to form what? A system. So I'll use an example now, right? Maybe you have a cell, the cell comes together to form what? Your cardiac tissues. Your cardiac tissue comes together to form what? The heart is that also, which is an organ. Then the heart with several other organs, maybe like your blood vessels, your target organs, they all come together to form what? A system. What do we call this system? Circulatory system, of course. All right. So as you can see here, we have the blood cells coming together to form the blood tissues, the heart, and lastly the circulatory system, which can be found in the entirety of the human being. Is done also. Same thing with the plant, parenchyma tissues, leaf transport system, and now you finally have what? The whole plant. Now, this is it. Different types of cells. We have prokaryotic and eukaryotic, right? Prokaryotic are what? Simple cells without nucleus. Eukaryotic are what? Complex cells with nucleus. Alright, next we talked about what? Alright, I gave you an assignment to go and draw this at home. I believe you are familiar with it. Alright, luckily enough for you, you'll be doing CBT exam, so I don't think there will be need for you to draw any diagram. But believe you me, you cannot do biology without drawing diagram and know how to label your diagram, of course. Like I said, the labeling on this image is highly wrong. Always make your label horizontal. Next, we talk about what? Specialized cells and their functions, like the red blood cells, the nerve cells, the muscle cells, the root hair cells, the palisade cells, and the xylem cells. Red blood cells carries oxygen, is that also nerve cells communicate information between what? Organs and the brain. The muscle cells is movement, the root hair cells, absorption of necessary water and nutrients. Palisade cells carry out photosynthesis, and xylem that transport water. Now, we also talk about tissues and examples, right? We say tissues are a group of what? Similar cells working together to achieve what? Similar functions. Now, in our animals, we have what? Muscle tissues, obviously. Now, when you touch your biceps, your triceps, they are what? Muscle tissues. Also, nerve cells. You may not see them, but they are tiny fibers that runs on the electric wave from your different organs to the brain. Right? We have connective tissues, like I told you. Connective tissues are what? Those tissues that hold together what? Two parts together. They bind different parts of the body together. Then we have epithelial tissues that covers our what? Our body surface for senses and for what? Protection as well. Now, in plants, we have parenchyma, we have parenchyma, xylem phloem. Xylem phloem belongs to what? The same category. Parenchyma belongs to what? Same category, right? For different functions. Now, we also talk about organ. This is the simplest. Even by mere look at another human being, you can point out certain organs, right? Very simple. But to certain let's look at some organs here. We have the heart, lung, brain, stomach. I believe you all know what this does. You have the leaf, stem, root, flower. I believe you all know what this does. Now, system in plants. This is wonderful. This is a recap. You can remember I gave you this during your pre-test. I gave you this as well during your test. So I believe you shouldn't have problem with this part of it. Now, habitats. Right. This is a wonderful topic. Now, you people have been having one or two misconceptions about habitat. I'm here to correct that. Now, habitat does not talk about the organisms itself. It talks about what? It talks about the environment at which these organisms live. Is that okay with you? The environment in which these organisms live, right? Or the natural home to these organisms. Do not make mistake of saying habitat is the organisms that live in. Please avoid that. Now, types of habitats. We say 4, right? Terrestrial, aquatic, arboreal area, right? Terrestrial, land, aquatic, water, arboreal, arboreal trees, and what? Area habitats. For those of you that love to watch cartoons like Dora and the Adventure, right? Land, aquatic, arboreal, like Funny Monkey in Dora and Adventure. Then the hair. I know majority of kids love pets. I don't know about you, but personally, when I was a kid, I also loved it. All right. So next, we talk about what? Adaptation. Adaptation is what? How organisms adjust to changes in their environment, right? How they tolerate changes or adjust to changes in their environment, right? But they do this only with the help of what? Special features, right? All right, for our terrestrial, right, on land, we use camels specifically, especially in class, right, where we say they have arms that help them to store water and to survive heat. You understand? Also, I'll talk about their thick skins and the nature of their hooves. Also. Then the cactus as well. You notice that the cactus does not have, it has a special leaf. This special leaf helps them to what? Store and hold what? Water. That's how most xerophyte plants are. What I mean by xerophyte plants are plants that stays in deserts, right? They either have what? Big leaves that help them to store water, or spiky leaves that helps them to what? Manage water loss. Aquatic fish, right? They are gills, which enables them to what? Extract the necessary oxygen from water. Frogs, webbed feet, that enables them to swim or to what? Hop. Now let's look at arboreal monkeys. Wonderful. I know you like bananas. Have strong tails and hands for climbing, and bears claws for what? Perching on branches. Area organisms, that is birds. First thing first, their wings. You can't. I don't see a reason why you should miss that. You can't stay afloat in here if you don't have wings, right? And some of them have what? They have the streamlined nature of their body, so that they can what? Penetrate air resistance. Now let's go to the next one. Look at the next one quickly. All right. So factors affecting organisms in their habitats. So these are the following factors that affect what? Living organisms in their habitat, just like it affects us too, like the temperature. You know how things go. If it's cold, wear jackets. If not, if it's hot, wear light clothes. Now, availability of water also matters. Like, I doubt any living organisms can go without it. So it also matters. So in an habitat where you have a lot of water availability, you tend to have what? A dense population of organisms. Where there's barely any water, you tend to have bare minimum of what? Organisms there. Sunlight, this has to do with plant most specifically. Now, some people will say, as long as plant is receiving water, plants can grow. But that's a lie. If your plant does not have access to sunlight, forget it. It might not necessarily be sunlight. It needs light. There are special lights now that you can use to grow plants even in the dark. Soil type, air, availability of food, predator, that is predator to prey relationship. Like I told you in class, when the volume of predator is more than the volume of prey, what happens? The prey goes out of extinction, and over time, the predator has nothing to prey on. Do you understand? And they also go out of extinction as well. Now, what happens when the The predator, there's more volume of what prey than the predator. Is that also? The predator has what? Enough food, right? Enough food supply, and the prey has better chance of surviving. Then I will leave the rest. Now, these are several questions you can ask yourself based on what we just discussed above. I believe that's okay with you. Now, transport system in plants, just like your circulatory system in the human body that helps you to transport blood and necessary materials, right? Same thing with the transport system in plants, but this time around you are not transporting blood and other necessary nutrients. Is that okay with you? You are transporting what? Water and manufactured food by the plant. Now, there are two mechanisms of what? Now, I'll allow this and go through your material to read this specifically. Now, I'm of interest to this particular topic, mechanism of transport. We have what? Xylem and phloem. Is that okay with you? Xylem and phloem. Xylem, like I told you in class, upward movement, phloem in class, downward movement, right? The upward movement of xylem is what? To transport water to what? Various parts of the plant. Is that not so? The downward movement of the phloem is to carry manufactured food from the plant, from the leaves to what? Other part of the plant. I believe that's as simple as that. It does not get any better than this. All right. Next one, effect of what? Transport system in plant. So your transport system in plant results to any of these two: water uptake and transpiration. That is what? As a result of the xylem taking water and mineral nutrients up, and transportation as a result of what? Your phloem taking food, manufactured food from the leaf downwards to other part of the plant. So you can see water is absorbed by the roots through the soil through the what? A process called osmosis, right? And it's taken from the root upward, right, to other part of the plant. Transpiration is a process by which what? Plants lose what? Water to the atmosphere in form of what? Vapor, right? This is what help them to keep their water balance equal. Do you understand? That means they don't lose too much water and they don't hold too much water. Next, we talk about what factors are affecting what? Transpiration. Temperature. Under high temperature, you tend to have what? High transpiration, which is bad for the plant as well. Under high humidity, you tend to have what? Low transpiration, which is okay, but too much of everything is bad as well. Now, if you have what? Increased rate of wind, water tends to lose water because it tends to use up the energy and water it needs to what? Maintain balance. Light intensity, which comes with temperature as well. If temperature is high, you automatically know that sunlight is as a result of what? High sunlight. Now, soil water availability, very important, right? If your soil has less water, there will be less transpiration, like those plants in desert. If it has too much water, it has to what? Have high transpiration, because at the end of the day, if it does not give up this water, it will end up having its cells bursting. Now, transportation of food. I believe I've already given you this in details. Movement of food from the leaf to other part of the what? The plant as a result of what? The action of the phloem. Now, these are certain forms that you can practice or I've given to you in the past, or you can go over it as a form of revision. Now, digestive system. Now, digestive system is responsible for what? The digestive process. That knows the whole digestive process handled by what? The digestive system. That means group of what? Different organs coming together with the sole purpose of what? Digesting your food. All right. These are the functions of your what? These are the functions of your digestive system. Break down food, absorb nutrients, eliminate the unwanted food or undigested food, and maintain what? Water and electrolyte balance. Now, like I told you in class, what we mean by electrolyte balance is the level of acidity or alkalinity in your stomach. Now, the digestive process, this is it. Ingestion, first thing first, you have to put food in your mouth. Mechanical digestion, you have to chew it. I don't understand. Take for example now, you're eating sugar cane. Will you just swallow it? And believe me, it have to just enjoy it. Now we have the chemical digestion. Now when it gets to your stomach releases certain enzymes to what? Make the digestion process go smooth. And it absorbs what? The next one, absorption, absorb the necessary what? Nutrients. Is that not so for you? Assimilation, absorb nutrients and transported to what? The necessary cells, right? And what? The residue, which are the undigested food, are left behind for the last step, which is what? Digestion. That is excretion, removal of those things. Now, major digestive organs. I will leave this to you. I make sure that it is brief and easy for you to understand. So please take your studies serious. Now, the circulatory system, back to the circulatory system, just like the transport system in plants, right? This is the circulatory system. But this time around, we are not dealing with manufactured food or water, we are dealing with what? Blood and necessary nutrients. All right. So the circulatory system is the transport of what? Oxygen, nutrients, and what? Waste products to and through the body, right? That means it goes round and round and round and round. That means if the nutrients are exhausted, they go back to where they are being replenished and go back again. Now, this is the major part of the circulatory system. The heart, right? It has 4 chambers, right? Left, right, left, right. You have left auricle, right, left auricle, right auricle, left ventricle, right ventricle. That means what? The upper part is the what? Auricle, the lower part is the ventricle. Thank you. Now, the blood vessels. Wow, these are the channels. You know, let's say for example, now you are in a train, right? Your train has to run on a railway. Is that not so? It has to run on a what? Railway. So the blood vessels are like the railway where these necessary materials go on to reach their final destination, which are the organs that need those nutrients. And these are examples of our blood vessels. The arteries that carries the oxygenated blood, the veins that delivers the exhausted or the oxygenated blood that has already been used up back to the heart, the capillaries that connects both of them, right? For efficient what? Transport of necessary nutrients. Now we have the next one. Types of blood. I believe this is simple. Red blood cells, white blood cells, platelet, and plasma. Red blood cells carry oxygen, white blood cells help you to fight disease, platelets stop bleeding, and what? Lastly, plasma is the part that carry what? Nutrients and waste. Alright. This is how the circulatory system works, just like I've explained to you. But you can read these to have a better idea of what I just said. But I believe with that is short explanation, it should be okay. Alright, next up we have what? Importance of the circulatory system. To understand how how blood and necessary nutrients flows in you, right? To help you supply oxygen at the right time, at the right place, right? To help you to remove what? Waste materials. Believe me, just have it in mind that your waste materials are not always removed, right? They are not always what? Removed. Sometimes they are just being replenished. Take for example your blood now. Does it mean if your blood runs out of oxygen, you like cut yourself to bleed so that it will make away, then you get another one? No. It goes to your lungs where the lungs replenish it with oxygen and it goes back again, right? It keeps pumping. So it also helps us to regulate body temperature and allows our body to function properly. Now the next one talking about is reproduction in plants. Now how humans and animals give birth or undergo the process of giving birth is quite different from how plants do theirs, right? Now the plants have what we call the anther, which is the male part of the plant, the stigma, which is what? The female part of the plant. So the anther needs to what? Go and connect with what? The stigma. That's how it works with plants, right? Now, this process can happen on the same plant or it can happen from one plant to another plant, as long as they are of the same species. So don't worry. As long as they are what? Of the same species. Now, I've already told you what pollination is. Process of transferring the anther to the stigma. Now, parts of the flower involved in pollination. Anther, stigma, style, ovule. Style is like the tool that takes the anther to the stigma, right? And the stigma is found in the ovary, right? It's found what? In the ovary, right? Now, the ovary is what contains what? The ovules that allows the anther to attach to it for what? Fertilization to go on. Now we have different type of pollination, like I've explained to you in the beginning. It can happen on the same plant or it can happen across one plant to another. If it happens on the same plant, it is called what? Self-pollination. That means a single plant delivers its anther to its own stigma, right? Then cross-pollination. Plant A delivers its anther to what? Plant B, provided as long as they are what? Of the same species. Now, agents of pollination. What causes pollination to occur? That is what aids the transport of the anther to the stigma. We have insect, wind, water, animals. Now, insect, they love scent, and most plants what they secrete what this scent to attract this insect. So when these insects maybe perform activities or perch on it or burrows on it, they tend to create vibration that shakes off this anther to what fall into the style to be delivered to the stigma. Same thing with wind. Wonderful. The anther are lightweight, so it is easy for wind to carry them from one plant to another. Water, of course, water can wash up, right? When you have water that wash up an anther and delivers it to what? Another plant stigma, depending on the topology of your environment. Then we have birds as well. Just like the insect delivers the same way with your birds. Now, importance of pollination. Now, it ensures plant survival, right? It ensures the breeding of what stronger plants, that's especially as a result of cross pollination rather than self pollination, support reproduction in the flowering plants, and support what ecosystem with stronger and better breed. Now, let's go to the next one. All right, how flower attracts pollinators. This is how your flower attracts pollinators. I think I'll go back so that you can see that this is how your flowers attract what pollinators.